All right, golf boys are back. Been off for a few weeks here as the PGA Tour kind of took a break. Skipped out on the Fortinet Championship in Napa just to give ourselves a little bit of a breather here. But we're back. Ryder Cup week, one of my favorite golf events. It's fun to see these guys in a different environment, and we've waited an extra year. This should have been last year. Obviously, us being Midwest guys and it being at Whistling Straits, we'd love to be there. Tried like hell to get tickets when they were on sale. Didn't happen. So we're going to be watching from our couch. But this is really exciting. The U.S. team is loaded, and the European team is loaded with experience. It's going to be a fun event. Whistling Straits is an unbelievable property. I've been there. I've not played the Straits course. I've played the Irish course there. It's kind of a sister course, has the same feel, but it's not the championship level course that the Straits course is. But it's a really cool place. It's very linksy. It's got 1,000 bunkers, and if the wind blows, it's difficult. There's been a lot of talk about the setup and how the U.S. team and the European teams have been setting up the courses when they take turns hosting, and how the U.S. might play with their setup this week to give themselves an advantage, make the rough a little bit shorter so their guys can kind of just bomb it out there. I think that it's a possibility that could help, but if the wind starts blowing and it becomes kind of a grind fest, I think this is not necessarily the course that fits perfectly for us.
Yeah, I want to jump back to what you were saying because you said you've been on the property before. As much as I'd love to be there, doesn't it quite seem like navigating this course as a fan would be kind of difficult?
I do think that this is not a good spectator course. I kind of think that people agree with that have been there for PGAs and stuff like that. Big, humongous hills, so you can't see 2 or 3 holes at a time. Really, it's kind of difficult in that sense. From what I've read, fans aren't going to be super close to like greens and stuff. And particularly for this event, when it's on your home soil, like as a fan of the United States, like you want those fans there going crazy, talking shit to the Euro guys and like really pumping our guys up. And if they're 30 yards back from the green or, you just don't have those big surrounding groups, that maybe doesn't help either. I think obviously this course is an amazing course. It's the coolest place I've ever been. The Irish course is my favorite course I've ever played. This is not maybe the best Ryder Cup course, in my opinion. It's really cool. It's one of the best courses there is, but I like Hazeltine is fantastic because it's more of a Parkland style where the fans can pack on top of each other around these greens, and it's it just sets up a little bit better for it. This maybe not so much, but I do think that if it's benign conditions, it sets up really, really well for the players that we brought.
Yeah, and I wanted to say that because I think it's going to look amazing on TV.
There are some shots that are going to be wild.
Right. And I think that people should be a little hesitant about like, oh, it must be crazy cool to be there. That property is huge. That property is hilly. That property is a lot of space in between holes. And it sucks that we can't be there. I would pick being there 10 times out of 10 over watching it at home. But I think watching it at home, I think will be just as fun or even better of a viewing experience when it comes to watching these guys play golf.
Yeah. So for people who aren't as familiar with the Ryder Cup, it is a team event, U.S. versus Europe, 12 guys on each team, 2 sessions, Friday and Saturday. So that's four foursome matches, which is alternate shot in the morning, and 4 ball, better ball matches in the afternoon. 28 total points, and then 12 of those points are singles matches on Sunday. That ultimately usually decides it. Even, we saw in 2012, the U.S. had a monster lead going at Medina going into Sunday, and it can go in a hurry. Our team is loaded. We took the exact captain's picks that I was hoping that we would take, essentially. The qualifiers were Bryson, Cantlay, Morikawa, Brooks, DJ, and JT. And our captain's picks were Berger, English, Finau, Xander, and Spieth, and Scheffler. Yeah. I think that this team has 6 rookies, which rookies have been up and down in this event, but I like getting that many rookies on home soil for their first time. And these are guys that are going to be there over and over and over again. There's a bunch of guys from like 26 to 29 that I think are going to be here 2 years from now, and probably the next time, and probably the next time. It's nice to break them in on home soil. And they really went course fit. Scheffler was kind of a controversial pick, but this course sets up perfect for him. And in this event, you only play 8 guys in each session. I think that Stricker, he has the opportunity to like really give guys a specific role and just let them do their thing. One example is you've seen in the pairings in the practice rounds that they're trying to group players together, let them play some rounds together. So you've seen like JT and Spieth in the same foursome, and DJ Morikawa, Xander, Cantlay, like those 3 pairings you're definitely going to see. And what we've seen is Bryson and Scheffler. Now, I have to believe there's no way they're sending those 2 out in an alternate shot match. I don't even know that either of them will.
Right? Wasn't it Harris English in that group today?
Yeah, which makes me think that if Bryson plays a foursomes match, that it's going to be with Harris, but in a 4-ball, it'll be him and Scotty. I wouldn't expect to see Scotty in a foursomes match unless he just lights it up Friday afternoon in his 4-ball. But Bryson and Scotty in a 4-ball where they can just go make as many birdies as possible. This is match play. It's not golf. It's different. It's not stroke play golf. It's way different. This is part of the reason that we've lost a bunch of these is because, it's just different. You don't have to you can play like shit and win, or you can play awesome and lose. So I think that getting those 2, if you just like tell these guys going in the week, like, hey, JT and Spieth, get ready. You're playing all 5 sessions. We need 4 and 1 from you. You tell same thing to DJ Morikawa, be like, all right, you're going to play at least 3, maybe 4 the first sessions, the first 2 days. And then same with like Scotty, like, hey, you're not going to play a foursomes match. You're out there to make a ton of birdies in a 4-ball with Bryson, and that's kind of the thing. I think our team sets up really well to position guys in certain types of matchups.
Yeah, I like it, and obviously the big talk with on everything is the Brooks Koepka Bryson stuff, and so you kind of get naturally into that question of, well, who's going to play with who? And we've already have those other 3 set. If Scotty's kind of that young guy who's, I wouldn't say happy to be there, but there's a little bit of happy to be there with him. He's kind of the last guy. He was another young rookie. He's not going to complain about playing with Bryson. He doesn't have a choice. So if you can also pair his talents with a guy where it's like, hey, go play with Bryson and just kind of do your guys' thing. I think it fits pretty well. I mean, if you put Patrick Reed, that's just a whole new problem you have. So I like the fit, just like you're saying. We have a lot of opportunities to kind of scheme. And I kind of wanted to talk about the coach's role in this. So I think they play a little bit bigger of a part than I originally thought, as far as like picking who's playing when and what days. And I think that your point about some guys are going to have a specific role is going to be really important, because they can't get butthurt about like not playing, especially when you're playing with this many really, really good players. Yeah. And the coach is going to have a lot to do with that with Stricker and Padrick on the other side. So I'll be really, really trying to track that and see those decisions, because you have a couple locks at the top, like we already. I mean, JT and Spieth are going to play together. That just happens. It obviously seems like we talked about JT or DJ Morikawa, which is an electric group, by the way. Especially
that's the ceiling of that group is like
insane. Yeah, that's like a cheat code for golf if they're both playing well. So I'm really interested in Stricker's thoughts here, who he puts out with who. It seems like Xander and Cantlay are going to play a lot together, which is like
they're like best friends, play together all the time. Looking at the, playing all the sessions is like not necessarily that common. You saw Spieth and JT did it in 18 and went 3 and 1 as a pairing. I think that they are the only group that's likely to play all 4. I do think there's a chance Xander and Cantlay, if they show up, I think he'll play them both sessions on Friday, and if they wax the floor with people, then he'll run them back out for both sessions on Saturday. But most people are going to play 2 or 3 sessions, I think, other than JT Spieth, unless maybe they look tired or something. Then they sit for the morning session on Saturday.
That's a silent assassin group right there. That is just a
slow. They're 2 of the best 7 players on the planet.
Yeah, and just birdies after birdies and alternate shot. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Yes, they are so consistently good. They're both excellent putters for a foursomes match. That's the thing. Like the 4-ball thing, it's kind of you just go out and play. But foursomes, you really do have to be like a good team together. Like no one wants to go play 18 holes and share the same ball with Bryson. Like they just don't. Like that's too much. Like I don't actually think that he'll play any foursomes matches. I think that they ran the English kind of test run today. Maybe they will if he plays well on Friday. But I think the U.S. come out Friday morning, and their 4 groups are JT Spieth, Xander Cantlay, DJ Morikawa, and then I think it's Berger and Brooks. And I think they just kind of see what they're going to do from there. Or potentially a Finau Harris English foursomes, because that does make some sense to me. But usually you try to keep the rookies out of the first match. Right. Give them, let the place kind of settle down a bit, let the nerves settle. But it'll be interesting to see. And on the European side, I know we've talked a lot about the U.S., but the European team is like they don't have necessarily like the top end talent that the U.S. team has, in my opinion at least. But the grit and heart of like the experienced dudes on that team, it's going to be an issue in my opinion for the U.S. Like I get that Poulter hasn't like played that good, but like he's an awesome putter. And in a foursomes match, those are daggers. When he holes a 30-footer for par, when you think you've got the hole, like it's a dagger. This is an emotional like event, particularly in each match. I think that the Europeans have an advantage in terms of experience and like willpower.
Yeah, and I think that if you don't watch golf a ton and you're watching this event and you don't know a lot of the European players, or at least just don't watch them on a regular basis, and you think like the USA, you're like, oh, big bombers, big boys, Bryson, Brooks, DJ hits it a mile, all these dudes. You're going to watch a guy like Sergio hit it, or guys on another team, Paul Casey, Victor Hovland, guys like that. You're like, wait, those guys hit it just as far? Like it's going to be kind of eye-opening to show you like they're not that far off as far as like ball striker power hitters. These guys are just right there. Sergio's performance in the Ryder Cup, he has all the experience that he needs. He hits it a freaking mile, and this team has a lot more firepower than I think that people are giving them credit for, and they're led by the best player in the world. That's
kind of the thing for me is like you look at Shane Lowry, Fleetwood, Westwood, Wiesberger, like they haven't been playing that great, but like Fleetwood went 4-1 in 2018.
Right.
Him and Molinari just whooped everybody's ass. Poulter has like a million good wins in this. Westwood, this is like his 10th Ryder Cup. These dudes aren't going to be fazed by anything. They're going to grind their ass off the whole round. They're not going to give up anything. Wiesberger is like getting thrown out as like some guy who can't score a point. He's good at golf. He's a really, really good golfer. Like if he goes out on Sunday in a single and beats one of our good guys, I will not be shocked at all. One day of golf, this is so random. That's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, the U.S. are big favorites. They're so much better. Anything can happen. John Rahm just missed the cut at the Fortinet Championship. You don't think DJ could have a shit weekend and go like 0-3? It can happen. That's like
beats some of these U.S. guys in PGA tournaments like all the time.
Well, and at the match play in Dell, at the Dell match play in Austin, he was awesome. Didn't he make like the final 8? And Poulter did the same. He was in the final 8, I think, as well. So I don't think they're being given enough credit for like how good and how savvy they are. It will be interesting. I think the U.S. team has the potential to blow them out if everything clicks because they're just so, they have so much talent. But I think that Rahm and Roy are going to have to score some points because I think they'll play them all 5. They'll probably give everybody else some sits, but those two are going to play all 5 sessions, and they need them each to go like 3-1-1 or better, I would say.
Yeah, it's impossible to say who like the X factor is for a team, obviously, because anybody could show up and play. These guys are all unbelievable at golf. But I look for Hovland to be that type of guy for them this year. And you're gonna see him a little bit later on my betting card. Is that he's shown in multiple events, including some majors, that he can perform with these big guys. He shouldn't really be scared. I mean, there's obviously probably going to be a little bit of nerves with the amount of people that are going to be there. And the format is obviously going to throw him off a little bit because when it's so spotlighted on those individual shots, nerves obviously come into play. But I think someone like Victor Hovland, if Rory and Rahm hold their own, which is, it's a good chance, and they're not guaranteed, but it's a good chance. Hovland could come up from kind of like not their shadows, but he could kind of come up as a guy who really shows that, hey, I'm the leader of the team, in the future coming, because I have multiple wins under my belt already. He has 2 wins, right? Yeah, 2.
Yeah.
Tour. He's going to be playing in this possibly as their head guy once John Rahm leaves. I mean, factor how good he could be once John Rahm's done, which is multiple years from now, but who knows? And I think that he'll play a big role if they're gonna compete, and hopefully on Sunday he'll have a interesting match play, because I think that'll be the most entertaining.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, there's some potential for some really, really awesome matches on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
For me, Victor is this tournament, this course sets up well for him, but I'm not sure the tournament does.
Right.
With his chipping and putting. Like, there's a lot of pressure on putts to save, to tie holes, to win holes. That is different. It is just different. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how he adjusts to that. I think it's the same thing for Morikawa, though, for me. Like, Morikawa's bent putting, these are bent grass greens, is not good. Like, he's been one of the worst bent putters of all the elite guys. Like, if he can't putt, like, he's going to get his ass kicked. He is. I'm sorry. Even if Morikawa, like, stripes it, you have to make putts to win these.
Right.
Because making pars, like hitting it to 12 feet and 2 putting, is just, you're having holes.
It's the same as the guy who hits it to 30 feet and 2 putts it. It's the same score.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to happen.
That's why Poulter in this thing, like, that's why he does his thing, because he's just going to grind you out the whole day making pars and, getting up and down from stupid spots. And then all of a sudden he can just get lightning hot with his putter. That's why, like, Xander and Cantlay, I like them paired together, but I wish that we could throw them in with, like, a Morikawa, somebody who doesn't putt as well, because those 2 guys are killer putters. They're 2 of the best putters on our team, in my opinion. They might be the 2 best putters on our team, besides maybe like Berger and Bryson when he's putting really well. Yeah. But Cantlay's bent putting, he's like number 1 in this field. In bent putting, I think that he has a chance to, like, wreak some havoc this week, especially if you give him Xander for every session, the way Cantlay's playing and putting right now, like, those guys could cause problems. And we don't know, like, they don't know who they're, like, really getting paired up with.
Right.
So, like, if they get put up against, like, a group that's not quite as strong, like a Fitzpatrick or a Fitzpatrick Fleetwood combo, like that could be a blowout. Like, I'm sorry, they're way better playing, and they're both playing really well. So, we do have a comment popped up here from Colton, asked if we had touched on Brooks and Bryson and if we thought they've, like, squashed their beef. My answer is yes, because both of them are going to play in a match in November. It's all but confirmed for $1 bajillion. They've squashed it because they got both their money. They're going to squash it with dollar bills.
Yeah, the videos of them, like, on the range or whatever, they're talking and, like, they're playing into it at this point. It's obvious. They know what's going on. They're starting to realize how they can monetize it. They've gone far enough where now they're reflecting on it and they're going, wait, we're just so similar that this is happening. Like, obviously their personalities are a little different because Brooks is a little bit more macho than him. But, like, as far as, like, their demeanor towards the game and all that stuff, they're very similar. That's just how it is. And I think they're just kind of they're learning how to play the game outside of what golf on the golf course, and it's working. I don't think the squashing was too dramatic. I think it was more of, hey, let's go win this.
I mean, we really haven't seen much of it in probably a few weeks, really, even either. Like, Brooks hasn't really been saying anything about it. I don't think Brooks likes him. I mean, Bryson's not exactly a likable individual. He lacks a lot of self-awareness. But I don't think it's that big a deal. If the Europeans, like, if people who are cheering for Europe think that, like, this is going to be a problem, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I don't think Brooks and Bryson are going to play that many matches. I think Brooks wants to kind of rest this thing. I think he'll play. He's a good foursome player, in my opinion, because he's such a good short game clutch putter type of guy. But I think he's a 4-ball guy potentially. And then Bryson, to me, is only a 4-ball guy. I do not want to have him sharing the same ball with someone else. Like, that's just – I don't want to subject anyone on earth to have to, like, play alternate shot with Bryson DeChambeau. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't
say
think
all
it's a
that stuff
factor.
about how they play into it, but to your point, they definitely or Brooks definitely doesn't like him because there's a 0% chance they played together this weekend. So
Yeah.
they're
If
definitely
people,
not going
that's
to
not
be
happening.
around each other, but I think they've gotten to the point where, hey, if we kind of keep feeding this fire, there's a pot of gold at the end of this tunnel. So that's
Yeah, it's coming. Just wait for it. As soon as this is over, they're going to announce it. I guarantee it.
right.
So I think the team chemistry stuff is important. Like Europe clearly has good team chemistry, and I think I've solved why. Somebody's probably said this before. To me, it's obvious. Like these European guys are all, while they're not all from the same country like the U.S. guys, they come over like to the U.S. to play. So they all have like that shared experience of like, hey, we played on the European tour, and we're not from here, so like they chalk it up and chat it up and hang out when they're here in the United States. They have that shared experience. So when they get back together for the Ryder Cup, I think that they have an extra level of like an extra bondage level. Like they're just closer because they have different shared experiences. I do think the U.S. team is getting closer though because these guys are playing together at younger ages. So like I think JT said it in an interview this week. Like besides like DJ Finau and Brooks, they all played like high school golf together. They just all know each other because they were all awesome juniors and they played AJGA and they played, all of the high school events together. Like these guys have known each other forever. So I think that we're going to catch up in that sense at some point here.
Yeah, I like it. And that plays into what I was talking about Stricker's decisions earlier, is that not that you look forward to future things or future events, but you want to get these guys to get comfortable with each other and have some sort of pride. We've seen it with the JT Speed stuff. Obviously, they're a little bit more animated when they play together. When you play with somebody you truly care about and truly want to win with, that's just what happens. So, if we could get that to start to happen with some of these young kids on our team or some of these rookies like Morikawa, right? Like if he could have some passion about winning this golf tournament, we see that come out this weekend. That's going to help our team going forward, and that's going to help the chemistry stuff because they've already been playing into it. You got John Rahm walking around with a cheese head on, and I saw Rory was like signing Packers hats and giving them to people. So I don't know. They're wanting the attention now this weekend.
Yeah. So from a betting perspective, obviously the day-to-day betting is by far the most fun portion of this, but we're recording this on Wednesday. Like the matchup, we don't know any of the matchups. So when the matchups come out, my advice, play underdogs. Like the U.S. are probably going to be favored in a bunch of these, but play some underdogs because this is a crapshoot for the most part. If you go out in a foursome and one guy just doesn't have it, like they're going to lose. They just are. And same with a four ball. Like one guy could shoot like 8 or 9 under, and it's like, all right, well, they're going to win. Like that stuff, weird stuff can happen. I would lean underdogs on some stuff as far as that goes. But for our purposes tonight, some future stuff for the week. A lot of it's going to be top point scores because that's really the main stuff that's offered. My theory was like, I want to think about who's going to play with who and who's going to play the most matches. So like I said earlier, JT and Spieth, I would assume, barring like some pretty shitty play Friday, are going to play both Friday, both Saturday, and then their singles match Sunday. So that's 5 chances to get points. Rahm and Rory are probably playing all 5. The value's maybe not quite as good on that side. But that's the kind of my thought is like, all right, who's playing with who that could be a good team and win 2 or 3 of their matches? Who is going to play a bunch of matches? So my first bet is Spieth plus 750 to be the top U.S. point scorer. Him and JT were 4-1, or he was 3-1-1 in 2018, but him and JT were 3-1 as a pairing. I think they'll leave them together for all 4 sessions. He's going to get a lot of chances to score points. He's never won a singles match at the Ryder Cup. Mm-hmm. He's due, I would say. I mean, I think that's kind of a luck of the draw thing. Like, who do you get matched up with and how well do you play in one single round? He has good experience on this course. And this tournament is all about the bullshit Spieth magic that he has tucked away somewhere on his body. Like, this is what it's about. Like, when he looks out of the hole and then pulls off some crazy shit from 60 yards out in fescue to 3 feet, like, this is the Jordan Spieth experience this week. So I'm taking him plus 750 to lead the U.S. in total points.
Yeah, I like that. And this next bet is not going to be on our pick sheet for me, but I'm going to mention because I also like is the same number at 750, and that's Cantlay. I think he's getting pushed back a little bit just off of popularity. He's not as popular as some of these really big guys. I mean, he just won Player of the Year. I don't know if people remember that, but he won the FedEx and won Player of the Year. He's playing unbelievable. And put that with you about his bit putting. He's a silent killer. There's not going to be a ton of like his fans or his crowds, aren't probably going to be as rowdy as like the other guys. I mean, they're going to be rowdy in the Ryder Cup, but you know what I mean? There's not going to be as much attention on him. I think he's going to step back, stay in a comfortable lane, and I think he's a guy who could really be up there in the last day and score points, especially in his match on Sunday, to kind of take the lead for the team.
I like that a lot. I might actually bet both. My thing is like DJ's form is not great right now.
Right.
Morikawa's form is not great right now. I don't think Bryson's going to play like all the matches or Brooks. So it's like the JT Spieth, Xander, Cantlay combos probably need to carry the U.S. a little bit, in my opinion, for them to have a real chance. Unless you get like a big contribution from like a Berger, Finau, Harris English, and Scotty somewhere in that group. Like those two pairings, I think they'll keep the whole time. I think there's a good chance they both play all the sessions. That's where the U.S. is going to need to get like 6 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Xander being his partners, you know what you're going to get. Xander's not some crazy high, crazy low guy.
Yeah, definitely.
He plays really well. You have to get a little lucky on them playing every single time, and playing every single day. But if Patrick Cantlay is continuing to play like he's been playing, he'll be out there for our team. I know that.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
So I like that number also. I'm going to go a little bit different direction for my first one, and that's day 3 singles winner, the USA, and that's minus 160. If you're worried about the overall winner number for the United States, I don't mind this bet as like a replacement. I actually have another replacement coming up with the margin, but minus 160 is a little better than the other number. It's not a ton better, but if they're winning, they're going to win. They're going to win Sunday. That's what it's going to come down to. And so I like that minus 160. I think the USA is going to win. We'll get into that here in a little bit. I think if that's true, then I think that's a guaranteed lock to bet to go through. Minus 160 is just enough juice to like where it's not great, but it's okay. I'll get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take that minus 160.
Yeah. I mean, the team that wins Sunday usually wins the Cup.
Yeah.
Almost certainly. Now, other than 2012 at Medina, the home team has won. So, like, in theory, the U.S. should win on their home soil. They always like we haven't beat Europe in Europe in like a couple decades, and the only time they've beat us since 2004 in the United States was in Medina, and that was just like everyone threw up on themselves on Sunday. Yeah. That was kind of a crazy deal, and of course, that kind of sets up a little bit better for the Europeans. So yeah, I like that. If you think the U.S. is going to win, that's a super good bet. My second bet is similar to what I was saying earlier. Like I want to think about who's getting paired together. So I have Sergio Garcia top 4 combined point score. So this is all the players combined for him to finish in the top 4. I think him and Rahm are probably going to play together. That seems most likely. And if I can hitch my wagon to John Rahm for like 3 matches, I don't think Sergio will play all 4. I do think he'll play 3 though. If Sergio gets to play with Rahm for 3 matches, that's potentially 3 points. And then on Sunday, he's one of the best Ryder Cuppers. He scored the most points in European Ryder Cup history. Like this course sets up awesome for him to just be the great driver that he is. So I like him to finish in the top 4 of point scorers for all the teams. I just if he gets to play with Rahm, like that's kind of the golden ticket, I think.
Right, and this is exactly what's happening to the JT Spieth numbers, is that we know they're going to play together, and we know they play well together. So that's why it's like happening where you have a higher chance of getting those points because you have that partner that kind of gives you a little insurance. This is the same thing. If they play together, not only does he have a good partner, he has the best partner.
Yeah.
And the last weekend, John Rahm did not scare me at all. He did not care one bit about that tournament.
No.
He was going to Wisconsin no matter what. I could be convinced that he almost missed the cut on purpose after he didn't play that well on day 1.
Probably, yeah. Once he knew he wasn't going to win.
Right. So I like that bet. Sergio we bet him all the time during the year, which is great. He hits it super far, ball striker. Keep him, hopefully get a little lucky on the greens if he's going to score a lot.
Yeah.
But I like it. He has the pedigree. He has the experience. He's not scared of anything, and 650 is pretty good.
My one concern with Garcia would be is if Padraig wants to put him with a rookie to kind of, like have somebody with a super ton of experience. Like if he sends him out with Wiesberger, I guess, or Hovland. But if he goes with Hovland's awesome. They could definitely still win. But I think that Padraig is probably going to take the route of I need to send out at least a couple awesome pairings to try to guarantee some points and just hope for the best in the others because the U.S. team is so good. So I do think him and Rahm will play at least a couple sessions together.
Yeah, you're not going to see that in an alternate shot where you throw a Sergio burned out there and you just get absolutely waxed by the U.S. team like that.
Yeah, probably not.
Isn't going to happen. I assume it may be great for my bets if you do, but I doubt that happens. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm going to piggyback right off what you said with Victor Hovland. I'm going top rookie point scorer, Victor Hovland at 5-1.
So that's combined teams, both,
yeah,
right?
Combined 5-1 for Victor Hovland rookie. So there's a couple of the rookies, obviously, that we've already talked about. Morikawa being one. That's kind of the highlight on the U.S. team. I like him because he's just gonna. I hope that he can stay calm. That's my one worry is that he gets mentally messed up by the environment. But if he can stay in the right headspace, I see him being really in contention for this bet because it fits well for him to play well here. And if he's paired with somebody who's not crapping their pants and can keep him comfortable and keep him in that hey, we're here to win this together. You're a guy who's meaningful to win this, right? If you have to play well for us to win, I think it sets up well for him to be the top rookie point scorer. I think he's going to be in it all the way up until Sunday. And if he's playing well, that's what I'm saying. I think he'll be in a match on Sunday, which but hopefully put him in that realm to win. Yeah.
So I think that, the U.S. have 6 rookies. Europe has 3. So that's 9 total. I think the Hovland is probably the most likely besides Xander to play a ton of sessions.
Right.
Obviously, everybody plays singles, so there's one session that everybody's going to play. But Hovland is probably the 4th best player, 3rd best player on Europe. So they're going to need to ride him a little bit, especially if he starts off pretty well. I don't think that's a bad number at all. I think Xander was a plus 220. He was one of the 2 favorites with one other guy. So I think Cantlay is actually a U.S. rookie. I think he's the favorite. So that would be my concern is if Xander and Cantlay go out and scorched earth on Europe a little bit, that would make that bet difficult. But that's why you're getting 5-1, I think. So, yeah, Victor's really, really good.
Yeah, I just made the case for Cantlay to be the best on the whole roster, so that's good.
But yeah, well, my 3rd pick it goes against yours a little bit, not even a little bit. Shane Lowry to be the top European rookie point scorer. So it's just Hovland, Lowry, and Wiesberger at plus 163. My thing is I don't think Wiesberger is probably going to play more than 2 sessions. I think maybe he might only get 1 if it doesn't go well in the first session that he plays. And Lowry is the exact type of guy that I would want if I was a captain in a Ryder Cup. He's just really, really good short game player. He hits it far enough for whistling. This course is going to feel familiar to him. It's a Linksy style course. And he is gritty as hell. That Open Championship that he won, the conditions were shit. He knows how to get it done when things get difficult. And I don't really care that he's a rookie. He's an older guy. He's experienced. So basically, I've just taken him against, Hovland plus 163. I've said my concerns with Hovland are around the green and on the green in an event like this, but I just think the odds are good. And I think that Shane's going to get to play with Rory at least a couple of sessions. That kind of seems like what they're going to do. At least early, is to try to get some points on the board with Lowry and with Rory. And I don't have any problem hitching my wagon to Rory either. Same as the Sergio bet. So I like the odds and I like the player.
Yeah, it's not a bad bet. It's a little safer than mine, but that's okay. And I think both of them, they're going to be the competition against each other. So
yeah,
you're going to have to pick one, which is fine. But Burned I would say he's not in that class. So
yeah, no, probably. I don't think he's going to get to play enough, probably.
Right. Mine was overall, though. Yours was Euro. That's why the numbers.
Yeah, just Euro.
Yeah. My last one, staying true to my betting card, winning margin for the tournament or for the event, I should say, USA. I got two of them. USA by 1-3, USA by 4-6, and it's 250 and 350. So you're either getting 150 or 250. 150 guaranteed if USA wins between 1 and 6 points.
And they're not winning by more than 6. Nobody wins by more than 6.
Right. I would think not. I think there has been some people that have been some like a little bit of blowouts whenever they come Sunday and they realize it's over. I think that's happened a few times.
But that would be like 18-10 or 17
right.
and a half to 10 and a half. Like that's
right.
That's a
I
blowout.
see this as being a pretty close. I think this is going to be a big weekend for golf. I think honestly, just like viewing, I think this is going to be really fun. I see this as a pretty well matched up event. Even I think it's a lot closer than the numbers show on the books for Team Europe, and I think they're just kind of playing into the U.S. crowd, which is fine. Make your money, do whatever you got to do. But this is a good way to bet the USA without betting the minus numbers. So you're getting plus 150 for them to win 1-6 just overall. I honestly think that's a really good play if you think they're going to win.
Oh yeah, it's a super good play.
And if you get lucky and they win 4-6, you're getting 250. So it's even better than betting minus 200 or minus 190, whatever it is.
100%.
So, I'm a margin guy. I'm going to live and die by the margins. This is a great pick. I'm picking the USA to win. Coming up, USA 1-6, and then it's broken out in two pieces, 250, 350.
Yeah, that's a really good bet. I don't know why they would offer those numbers, quite frankly. If the US is minus 200, if they're going to win, it's probably going to be pretty close. Like this usually isn't a big blowout.
Right.
So yeah, those are really good odds. I am going to take Europe plus 210 to win this. I'm going to cheer like crazy for the United States, but I think that at least at the number at plus 210, I think that that's good value for a team that is closer match than people are giving them credit. If it was like plus 140, I wouldn't be that interested in. I'd probably just take the U.S. But I think Europe can beat us. I think that it's pretty much 50-50. If the United States don't get DJ and Morikawa like going a little bit, then they're in trouble, in my opinion. Unless, like Berger or somebody starts showing up. But, 4 of their qualifiers, DJ, Brooks, Bryson, Morikawa, are a bit unknown. Like DJ's record in this isn't that great. He seems to just kind of float around. Morikawa's got a bad back, hasn't played worth a shit. Bryson's been playing good, but he is a loose cannon and not somebody I think that they're going to play every session, mostly because it's hard to find a good teammate. And Brooks basically straight up said, like, I don't want to play every session. And he has a wrist injury, potentially. So those 4 of your top guys being kind of question marky, I like the plus 210 on a team stacked full of experienced dudes who have serious Ryder Cup wins under their belt.
Yeah, it's hard to argue, and I'm not going to argue because but Team USA minus 190 is going to be on the card. If you watch the show and then look at the card, I'm not betting minus 190. Simply because if I have to bet one of those numbers, I would bet 210. That's an obvious pick. Europe.
That's basically what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's way too high for the amount for how close these teams actually are. Especially when you have the experience that Europe has. I'm going to piggyback off of just what I said, a minute ago or whatever. I think USA winning. I think it's going to be a close race. I'm taking the 2 margins, and I'm taking the day 3 singles winner. I think those are 2 really, really good ways to keep your odds down or odds up and bet on USA to win. And then I'll sprinkle in some other, top scores and top stuff that we've already talked about. And I think that'll be just fine for the card that we'll have this weekend.
Do you think that the books? I'm trying to look it up right now. You think the books will let you parlay USA to win and USA to win day 3 singles?
I don't know. It's a great question. I can go look.
I'm trying to look right now. Singles day winner. No, they will not for good reason. No, for good reason. Because plus minus 160 and minus 190. That would be pretty good odds.
Yeah.
No, I think that better than that even. I think so. Yeah, if your book will let you do that, I don't think that's a bad idea.
Long shots. I wanted to talk about that because usually we have some long shots on our normal shows. You can do top point score for each team paired together. So like a John Rahm, Justin Thomas bet for each individual team, and the odds go like crazy high. Not crazy, but crazy compared to the other odds. I don't think those are terrible bets. I think those are a little bit hittable, more hittable than some of our long shots like tournament bets that we do. John Rahm, for him to be the top scorer is not a guarantee, but he's the best player on the team by far. He's the best player in the event by a pretty good margin, especially right now. And then if you think JT and Spieth are going to play well, they're going to be right up there with USA top scorers. They have to be. They're going to be playing all these sessions, and if they're winning, then they have no choice but to be on the top. So I would pick one of them if you like them, to throw extra cash on some long shots just to make the weekend fun. Because it's kind of sucks when you have to bet like the minus 160s and the minus 110s, and you got to pair them all together. And then, but I like some of those if you're looking for a little bit higher odds.
Yeah, one more bet. I forgot to look at these earlier. They offer matchups between players for like their points versus another. Sergio is plus money versus DJ. Sergio has like a million more points in the Ryder Cup than DJ has. Like his record is way better. Mm-hmm. And if he gets to play with Rahm, obviously, like I said earlier, that's a big advantage. And DJ hasn't been playing that good. And like, who knows? Like if Rahm and Sergio get a good draw, and DJ and Morikawa or whoever he's playing with have to play like Rory and somebody, like it could be over in like by Friday afternoon. Like Sergio could have 2 points and DJ could be 0-1-1 and have a half a point. It's like, okay, well,
these matchups. So these matchups aren't like one-on-one. Like there's like so many other factors that play into this event.
Yeah.
Even factors that are outside of golf, like mental stuff, environment, playing for your country kind of like plays in a little bit. The fans, all that stuff. These matchups are wonky. I would take some guys who are plus money just like that one.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. Go USA. I'll be rooting for them. I think they're obviously, I think it's like kind of 50-50 at this point. Hopefully they can pull it out. But one thing I wanted to say before we take off is Grant and I are going to do an NBA preview show on Thursday nights for the next 4 weeks. So the next 3 weeks will be over-unders. We'll be covering 10 teams per night. We'll be just talking about, the teams in general, what we think of them, what they've changed from last year and kind of where they sit in the landscape of the NBA. And then we'll be making over-under picks for 10 teams per night. Those will probably be pretty long shows. And then the last week, which is the week that the NBA starts, we're going to do a pick props and player futures thing. So like NBA championship pick type deal and player props, stuff like that. So it's going to be 4 weeks of NBA futures, NBA preview. It's going to be a lot of fun.
NBA futures props are honestly some of my favorite bets to do because the amount of research that you could go forever. You could just keep doing more and more and more research, and the numbers are really fun.
We've done well. I've made a lot of money betting futures over the last few years. So
we did, I would say, really well last year, especially with LaMelo. We hit that 4-1 when it first opened up. I'm excited for this. A little preview for tomorrow is we have the Chicago Bulls in our first 10 teams. That'll be interesting to see our thoughts on that.
Yeah, there'll be some interesting teams. So we'll see you tomorrow night for the basketball show. Same time, 7:30. Peace out.
See ya.